Hello. Okay, I'm just gonna get some things set up here. Welcome in, everybody. Just gonna make sure I have all my things ready to go. I'm so excited to hang out with you guys. Like, truly, it's gonna be so fun. Welcome in, everybody. Hello, everyone watching the recording also. Let me know in the comments if you can hear me okay. I'm gonna open up the comments so I can see you guys. Hello, Liz. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be fun. Hi. Okay, we are recording. Okay, I don't know what I just did. Okay. Da-da. All right. Okay. I think I'm good. I can see the chat. I can see Liz. I got some messages of people not being able to be here. A lot of people are hoping for the recording, which is totally fine. I know it's people have things to do, and that's so okay. All right. All right, let's see if I can see. Okay. All right. Well, welcome in to Splatters. This is the me sharing what surface pattern design is and the 5 things I believe you need to embody or work on embodying to become the surface designer. Liz, would you let me know if you can hear me okay? Just in the chat there. And
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so I'm just gonna get started since I know some people can't be here and I don't want there to be like this awkward beginning of the recording. So, uh, first of all, thank you guys for being here live and on the recording. Like, I'm just so grateful. This has been such a scary thing for me to jump on and share. I'm like, I'm the artist, I'm doing all these things, but I just had this desire, this nudge to share what I do because I am the busy mom. I am the artist that struggled and did a lot of things the hard way. And I've learned so much in the last 4 years. I just want to help people collapse time, have some ease and flow, and like do this art thing with a calm nervous system because truly there is when you are in a place of needing to make money or you think you have to work hard, it gets overwhelming and frustrating and burnout is really easy. So just want to show up here for you guys. So a little bit about me. So my name is Sarah. I am the face behind Forage and Pattern Studios. And I grew up in Sweden, so a lot of my influences are from Sweden. Um, and I help artists monetize their art through strategy and more importantly, through energetics and mindset. So I show them that making money through their art gets to be easy, it gets to be fun, it gets to be calm to your nervous system. And I have kind of my art story is that art came so easy to me that I didn't think it was a big deal and I didn't really pay attention to it. I thought whatever you do for money has to be hard. You have to work really hard. And it just art was too easy. So I didn't think it was a big deal. So when I finally did tune into like, yeah, I do want to do art for while I'm a busy mom. I came at it with lots of actions pushing, like coming from out of alignment. I took on a lot of maybe custom jobs and original art pieces that didn't really feel like it was in my style, but I was like, I need to make money. I need to help out in the house. I'm, doing the mom thing, but I wanted something on the side. And I just took action from a lot of misaligned places and just ended up being very overwhelmed and frustrated. And like I said, was making art that I really didn't really feel like was a lot of fun. So eventually I ended up getting really burnt out and I knew something had to shift. So that's when I learned about mindset and energetics. And I just leaned in and I started to play and figure out what my style was. And I started to embody it, and I worked on mindset, and I released a lot of old beliefs. And I just opened up to receiving ideas of how can making, art and making money doing art, how can it be fun? How could it feel easy? And so that's when I got this desire that I wanted to create patterns. I really wanted to see my art on fabrics and, out on clothing and shoes and wallpaper and things like that. So I thought, what is that? I don't even know what that is. How do people do that? So, surface pattern design landed in my lap. I was like, wow, this is it. So I learned by myself mostly how to do that. And that's another reason why I'm here. I just want to help you guys collapse some time and get some guidance that I really didn't have. I also wanted to mention that the whole starving artist belief that some people land in, especially if their family projects some of these beliefs on you, I think that's really old. I think that's coming from a time where you had to make original pieces of art and you had to be a master and sell them locally. But it's not like that anymore. We get to sell things with ease digitally, and even doing things like what I do, where I do some art licensing, is you can make passive income on your art. So you create this art one time and you collect royalties on this one piece of art over and over again, which it's really fun. So I wanted to start with my intention. So my intention for this free masterclass is to share what surface pattern design is, like I said, and the 5 things I believe you need to embody or work on embodying to become that balanced surface designer. So I want to share my wisdom and help you collapse some time. I may call out some blind spots that you have and give you some ideas. I also wanted to mention, try to have a piece of paper by you, a paper and a pen. We're going to do just this one tiny little exercise. If you have it, if not, don't worry about it. So just because I do lots of mindset, I wanted to begin by just calming down your nervous system and have a little bit of a intentional moment. So if you're not driving and you're in a calm place, I want you to just close your eyes for a little bit. We're going to do a little visualization. And I just want you to tune in, just relax. I want you to breathe in for 4, hold, and breathe out for 4. Let's breathe in again for 4, hold, and breathe out for 4. And just continue to breathe calmly. I want you to imagine that you're surrounded by beautiful, warm sunlight. It wraps around you and you feel at ease. You're calm and safe. Release your shoulders. Relax the tongue from the top of your mouth. Notice where your legs or feet touch the ground. Straighten your back and connect beyond yourself up to the stars. You feel the warmth from the sun kiss your skin, and a light breeze is whispering in your hair. You smell sweet oranges, maybe some strawberry cake and coffee. And you hear people chatting and children giggling. And you notice what looks like water, but it's glittering. It's so bright, you can barely make out any shapes. Everywhere you look, it's just dots, grouped into similar colors, blending into others, and creating some basic shapes. As your eyes start to adjust, the dots turn into your surrounding environment. and you notice you're in a park where people are walking and picnicking and relaxing together. Dogs and children are running and playing. The closer you look, the blurrier everything becomes. And as you take a step back, the scene becomes clear. You realize you're inside the painting, A Sunday Afternoon on the Isle of La Grande Jatte by George Seurat. So you relax your body and you lean back, taking in the scenery and the vibe. You're watching the people enjoy their Sunday afternoon. You're watching the boats on the water and the trees casting shadows on the people resting. And then you realize something. The blurry mess of all the unknowns is necessary. As the ideas and desires land on your heart and you take the next aligned steps towards them, the image becomes clearer. Some of it doesn't make sense at first. Where you're going is not perfect or clear. You still feel at peace and you trust more and more. As you get an inspiration and take aligned action, you're placing more dots. Then you step back to evaluate what feels fun and in alignment. And as you keep going, you clearly see how the journey is what creates your reality. You feel at peace. You exhale. And when you're ready, come back to me in this present moment. Let me know in the comments if this landed for you. And I want you to take this feeling into the rest of the masterclass, as I just want you to remember that sometimes things don't make sense and we might not see exactly the full picture, but by taking aligned action, having the inspiration land and taking the aligned action, the picture starts to make sense. So I want to tell you what surface design is. So surface design is basically art that is on any surface. Okay, this can be books, wallpaper, bedding, clothing, curtains. I'm talking everything, cups, anything that you see art on, that's surface design. It can be a single graphic, so just like one image that goes on a t-shirt, or it can be a seamless repeatable pattern, which is things that you see on fabric and wallpaper and clothing and things like that. You could be making a single design for a brand or a collection of designs. So maybe they're working on their fall collection. And in that case, you'll have one or two prints that are called hero prints, which is the main prints. And then your other designs will be the supporting designs to go with those main prints. And that's because if there is clothing, for example, you might have a top and then they want a bottom that goes with it. So they just put it out on their product line like that. You can sell these single designs or collections with just a flat fee, which is what most brands will do unless they're really, really big brands or they have some sort of artist program, then they might license your art. And this is my favorite kind. Like I've had 2 licensing deals so far, and they're so much fun because you create that piece of art one time, and then you collect royalties on all of the sales that happen every single month. So for the last 2 years, I've collected royalties on art I made 2 years ago. And I keep giving them more art, of course, so that I have more coming out, and that adds to my library of royalties that are being collected through this brand. And it's so nice because you actually they don't own the art. So once the licensing is over, you can turn around and sell that art to somebody else, which is really neat. And it's a way of creating passive income because here you are, you don't have the overhead of making the products, but yet you're collecting a piece of all of the sales. You can also turn around and create your own products. Once you know how to make seamless designs, you can go ahead and, maybe you want to start your own clothing line, or you can take this to a print on demand site like Spoonflower or Society6, where you upload your seamless design and you can then create your own collections and people can buy your pattern, your designs, and the brand like Spoonflower Society6 will send the product, the fabric, whatever it is, directly to the customer. So all you're doing again is collecting a piece of that. Surface pattern design is really important because it's a vital part of our everyday life. It is the things we're surrounded by at all times. So an art makes you feel a certain way, right? So it can help people feel, calm or happy or whatever it is. So just take a moment and look around in the space you're in. Maybe you have curtains or wallpaper or clothing or some sort of pattern around you on your notebook. And I just want you to pay attention to see how many things you see around you that has surface pattern design on it. And if you feel like it, you can comment it in the comments below. I think surface pattern design is an amazing way for artists to get their art out there into the world without any overhead. It's so different than creating original pieces of art where you are then having to figure out how to sell it and, potentially packing it up and sending it off. Well, here you're just handing a digital file to a brand. They take it to the manufacturer, or like I said, you're uploading it to one of these sites. An affirmation that I tuned into really early on, and you may borrow if you like, is that my art gets a wrap around people, their things, and their places. And just saying that and knowing that just like brings warmth to my heart. It just is so fun. Like I can't tell you how fun it is to see your art out there in the world, on like scrolling Instagram and the brands I've worked with and just seeing it wrap around people and their spaces. Like there's nothing that is more fun than that. So let's dive into the juicy stuff. First, let me tell you just kind of my definition of splatter. It is my artsy way of saying sprinkles, basically. It is the splattering of my nuggets, my wisdom, and the things I've learned that I want to share with you guys. And I have them all here for you guys. I'm going to go through them one at a time. So the first one is your art style and your confidence in it. So I know that this can be such a triggering thing because it's really hard with all of the influences that we have to feel like you have your own art style. And I want to help you come home to yourself and know that this art style is truly within you already. It is your experiences, your influences, your likes. I mean, it could be textures, colors, certain subjects, whatever it is already within you. And the way to get it out of you is to continue to play and explore. Figure out what you like and what you don't like. And if it feels hard, then it's not it. But if it comes out of you with ease, then that is it. Once you have this confidence in your art style, it will solve a slew of limiting beliefs. Also being in a place where you feel good about your art style, you're creating in really high emotion. You're not overwhelmed or frustrated or sitting in some sort of limiting belief. You're just having a good time and you're feeling good. You have ease and you have flow. And the biggest thing that having confidence in your art style solves is the fact that it's the antidote to imposter syndrome. I know so many artists are sitting in imposter syndrome again because we have such huge access to influences. Also, being an artist, like I said before about if you have projections from people around you that it's this starving artist thing, You might feel imposter syndrome, like, well, I'm just a mom, or I'm a teacher, or I'm a banker, or I am this and that. I can't be the artist. And so you're having this imposter syndrome. The cool thing about having your very own unique art style too is that your arts may be recognized, and that's really cool. So again, let me know in the comments if you like what artist you feel like you might recognize out and about. And, I think of people like Keith Haring and, people like that. When you see their art, like, it's theirs. And also if you have anything that you feel is recognizable about your art, I would love to know. And if you're not there yet, no worries, because the doing will show the way. Like I said, just keep playing, keep exploring, try everything, see what lands, see what feels fun, what feels easy. Don't overthink it. Um, let's see. So like basically my art style, I have a lot of Swedish influences, a lot of whimsical. I grew up in Sweden, so there's a lot of like simple styles, but also whimsical. I love my dots and my splatters. It creates good texture and just a little bit more of a signature for me. So if you do have your pen and paper, what I wanted to do was just to show you guys a fun little practice where if you just take your pen and your paper and you write your name. So just writing your name, not any different than you ever had before. And then after you write your name, I want you to write your name again on top of the name you already wrote. So if I go ahead and do that for me, I'm noticing that I am hitting the same curves and spots as I did the first time. And what I really wanted you guys to see is that this is your unique muscle memory. Okay. And it's really cool. And I want you to see how having your unique muscle memory and blending that in with your influences, your likes, and all of that, you can see how that may eliminate that imposter syndrome, because nobody is going to write your name exactly the way you write your name and be able to do it over and over again and pretty much hit the exact same signature, right? So let me know in the comments if that was something that you noticed that landed for you, and if that's helping you a little bit, because when I figured that out, I was like, wow, that's so cool. It's like I have certain characters that I like to draw, and I noticed that if anybody ever asked me to draw that character any bigger than I was doing, it threw me off. And it's because in my hand, I had the muscle memory of the proportion of everything that I was doing, the head, the arms, all of it was in my muscle memory. And I want you to take that and know that the same thing goes with your art style. That is yours. It is all yours. So again, having a strong confidence in your art style is the antidote to imposter syndrome, because when you're embodied in it, no one can take that away from you, and you don't have to ever worry about copying or being like someone else. And no one's going to have the same influences and experiences and likes that you have. Another thing that you may be feeling is doubt and judgment towards yourself. And so again, I suggest playing and continuing to explore. This is something I do myself, which is I create before I consume. So if I want to paint a flower, I know that it's easy to go out and find some influences, and that's okay. But sometimes I try to do my own version on my flower first. That way I know it came from me. And then if I want some inspiration and some tips, then I might go looking for it afterwards. So you may desire to understand your unique style. Again, this is where you want to go inward, think about your influences, your experiences, and just trust yourself. And don't be afraid to pivot or try something new. Some of us feel so locked in to having to show up for our audience, our family, our friends, the way we always have. And so if you have been the flower artist, but you're really interested in doing dog portraits, cats portraits, and you're having this limiting belief that, but I'm known for the flowers, and you don't want to pivot, you're going to end up in frustration and overwhelm. Again, this is where alignment matters so much. So your art style, the subjects, anything can shift at any time. And I want you to lean into that and know that that less of resistance is where you want to go. So you may also have a limiting belief that your work won't be valued or recognized. And sweet friend, I want you to know that this is your ego's way of trying to keep you safe from all of the fears we just talked about. And this is where we get to use the ego as a tool and use healthy detachment from other people's opinions and projections. And if you want to, I would love to hear in the comments how you currently feel about your art. So another thing that is important when you're creating is your emotional state. So I would never nowadays create anything if I'm in any sort of negative state. If I am overwhelmed or stressed out, I will figure that out first before I come. And that's because, like, the emotions, I'll talk about this later, but the emotions you have will land on the paper. And once it lands on the paper, that is how it will be perceived by other people. So if you're trying to sell it and things like that, it just might not have the right emotion attached to it. And that stuff really matters. And also having awareness around your emotions will help you navigate what your unique style is, because it'll feel, be having fun, it'll feel easy, you'll be in full alignment, and you won't be feeling like you're really, like you're struggling or frustrated, or like you don't even want to go and do the art. And another thing I get asked a lot is like, well, how do you stand out? And to be honest, um, it's not due to the forces or circumstances outside of us, right? Because it is, again, that energy that and the belief in yourself, and your own unique style and talent that you put into your work. And so it is 100% an internal job. And if you still have fears and doubts about expressing your art style, there might be like some deeper underlying beliefs or egos that's showing up, or fears of failure. And those are things that I have had to also work through myself. So number 2 is your high quality work and consistency. So this layers on top of the confidence in your art style. But what is high quality work? Like, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the tools and the materials that you're using. I'm talking about being consistent in creating your art. The more you do, then you'll boost your confidence and you'll get closer to developing your style. And because the sooner you get through the weeds of what you like or don't like, the better. Don't compare your chapter 5 to somebody else's chapter 2, or like 22. The comparison thing is like the thief of joy, right? It catapults you straight into frustration, and you're no longer present with what you're doing, your desires or your goals, or even the process. So I want to show you guys an example. So my early work, when I didn't have the materials and I hadn't really established my my art style, you can just tell that so here's one, for example, that this is the snails. This is my first go at these. I had this idea to do rainbow snails. Can you see this? And I hated them. Like I just hated them. I could have stopped right here and not explored any further. But I felt like the paper was too grainy. I felt like the paints didn't really blend. They didn't do what I wanted to do. So I went out and I got a better quality paper and I got a better quality paints, and I just kept playing. And there's a few steps in between here, but in a span of maybe a week or two, I want to say this is where I landed. And there is a huge difference in these two, because the quality of the paper and the paints and my persistence of continuing. And this is actually the first, once I scanned it in and created the pattern, that's my first pattern that I ever made. And it landed on these cute little diapers. So had I stopped here, I wouldn't have gotten here. And that's where high quality work and consistency matters. So I wanted to show you guys that because this, this wasn't good. So, and that brings me also to doing watercolor and having to scan it. There was a huge learning curve there. I learned that there was ways of doing the watercolor so that the scanning and editing basically would be easier. So this is where just being consistent and continuing to do will show the way, and you'll learn, oh, when I paint like this, the editing of that becomes hard because I left all these white spots and now I have to clean those white spots and fix the edges and things like that. Again, the materials you use matters too, because you sometimes don't know if a brand wants to scale them up really big. So if you're painting you know, a ladybug and you're painting it really small, but then they're going to have the ladybug this big, that's something you need to know so that you're painting your ladybug bigger, depending on where it's going and the scale that it will have. So if you're not feeling like you're producing high quality work, and you're not being consistent, you may feel frustration, which leads to self-doubt. You may feel comparison to others' skill sets and level. You'll maybe feeling discouraged and you'll have a lot of ego stuff show up. You may have a limiting belief that your materials and techniques are holding you back. So again, I could have stopped here, right? And decided that I'm not good at this. This looks like absolute garbage. And I don't have the tools I need, and I'm just going to give up. But I just kept going. So I want to encourage you to just keep going, keep playing, get the better materials, continue to try, be consistent. And then, so maybe creating habits, to be consistent in creating your art. You may have challenges in translating your paint, if you're painting into digital. So this is kind of what I was saying. I was kind of building the airplane as I was flying it. I was painting, scanning it, seeing how the editing part was, and just learned what to do and not to do. And the way to balance perfection and and keep creating is to not judge it. Okay, like there's no judgment here. Like I want you to know that. Like don't judge it. It's just data. It's just information. It doesn't mean that because your art is good or bad that you're good or bad. It's just data. Um and then like I said before, you have permission to pivot your style. So staying true to your alignment and not sacrificing, keeping your, don't sacrifice your alignment for your customer's comfort zone or projections on your art. So if you feel like doing something completely different, do the completely different thing as long as that feels fun to you. Because as soon as you start feeling frustrated and overwhelmed in your art, it's time to pivot something. Because it gets to be like those messy dots, right? From the visualization where it might not make sense at first, but it makes sense as you keep placing the dots. Okay, how are we doing so far? Let me know in the comments if you guys need anything. Number 3 is your niche and your aligned customer or clients. So this is the fun part, okay? This is, think of it as your, like a matchmaking process, okay? So here's some thoughts to consider. What kind of brand, product, or customer matches your art style? So for me, because I have kind of a whimsical, I had a lot of fairy stuff in the very beginning. I gravitated towards working with mom and baby brands. So most of my stuff is on baby carriers, blankets, baby clothing, things like that, because it's just what matched my art. So, what kind of collaborations or clients would light you up to create for? Where out in the world would you love to see your art? And what do you feel your art looks good on? So you can, again, comment below, comment in the comments what you love to see your art on, or what, even if there's like a dream brand, like put it out there in the universe and give it to God. Like, what brand would you love to work with? Just like kind of dream a little bit. And a story, I used to pitch any brand and every single brand. And there is a time and a place for that, but the more specific you can get, the better. Because once I got a super specific, when I decided to do mom and baby brands, everything changed. Because even though you might have a fear of missing out, like I need to create art for everyone and I need to pitch everyone, it kind of makes it unfocused then. So it's really good to kind of have a niche and brands that you feel in alignment with. So if you're not clear on your niche or aligned client, you may feel lost and overwhelmed. And again, you might want to try to appeal to everyone instead of honoring your perfect match. You may fear that you must do things that are trending instead of staying true to your style. And there's a balance here, because I do work with brands that are like, okay, gingham is really in right now. We need a gingham. Or there was a, the last 6 months or prior 6 months, there was a lot of checkboards. And there's a time and a place for that. But if someone's asking you to do something that's not in your style at all, let's say you do watercolor and someone's asking you for a digital file, or you do simple digital files and someone's asking you to paint something, like this is where you need to have discernment of what's going to feel the best to you. And so staying true to your style tops doing the trendy stuff. And the ego may resist you to narrowing down this audience or style in fear of exclusion, like I was saying. So we're going to chat more about the ego in a little bit. So how do you figure out what brand or client is a match for you and your art? So we kind of touched on this already, but I want you to tune into your emotions and the resonance that you have towards a specific brand or niche. So I want you to follow what feels good and what feels easy and feels like an exhale. Like what we want to do is create this art business with a calm nervous system so that you're continuing to feel like in flow and fueled. So you're not tipping into overwhelm and frustration because you just hate what you're doing and you're just taking action to take action, thinking that to make more, you have to create more. So you're in alignment with a brand when it feels fun and it's easy and it's expansive. You're working quicker. Like if you don't want to do something, I got a couple of jobs that I took because I was like, I need the money, so I'm gonna take it. But I could not get myself to do the thing. Like I would push it to the very last minute. I procrastinated. I didn't want to bring out my pains. I didn't even want to start. It was so hard. And I said to myself, never again, never again will I take on a job where I'm sitting in paralysis because it is not in alignment for me. So please have the awareness that that you're being asked to do something and you don't feel good about it and it feels like so sticky and you're sitting in complete paralysis and you don't want to do it, don't say yes. It's not worth it. So being in alignment, like I said, you're excited to do it. You work quick, like it just works out. You don't have a lot of mess up or things to figure out. You're just in flow and create like in just the beautiful alignment. The ego might show up a little bit depending on if you have some limiting beliefs and stuff, but you're so in alignment with this, even though it feels a little scary and you have to do a little bit of growing, it's still a full body yes, because you're so excited about it and you want to learn. You're like, okay, this feels stretchy, but I'm ready to evolve and learn more. And so it's still a yes. So you're lit up, and you're staying true to your style, and it just feels good. So how do you attract these aligned brands? Well, so these are some things that I've done. So at first, again, you want to make sure you're creating with a high emotion and you're doing the things you love. You're feeling confident in your art style and you're lit up about the brand and you feel like it's a good match. Um, you become their number one fan. You care about what they do and who they are. You pitch them and you keep following up with them till one door opens and then you just keep going. You have a clear style and know your niche, right? You have a way of showing the brand your work and who you are. You stay their fan though, even if the doors don't open on this particular brand that you really want to work with, you still stay their fan because either way you win. It might not be the right time. You might not be ready yet. And you just keep following up with them. How do you navigate staying true to your style and pleasing brands and clients' preferences? So this one, again, is kind of tricky, right? Because you want to create in your style, but you want to get the experience and you want to practice. And so this is where, again, like you might say yes to something that you didn't want to say yes to, but you're ready to do some learning and growing. So this is like just your own discernment. And this is where I want to talk more about the energy you create in lands on the paper and it goes beyond the art, right? So the good energy that's attached to your design will expand onto the brand products and their customers. So this is what you want because of course you want the brand to be successful, right? You want them to be successful using your art and you want to see the clients happy and feeling good surrounded by your art. And you want the brands to come back to you because they were like, man, it was so easy to work with you. And your designs that we put out on our product, they sold like that. Like we sold out of everything and we're going to have to do another order of it. And we would really love to work with you again, right? So this is where you want to have just good thoughts, good emotions. Okay, how we're doing? All right, we're at number 4. So number four is your tools and your programs. Okay, so this is kind of the unsexy part of being an artist, right? Is all that behind the scene mechanical stuff. So you can have all the art talent in the world, but you need the tools because without the tools to create the digital seamless design, you're not able to sell your seamless patterns to a brand because they need a file. And so you need a way to do this. So don't let it discourage you. Okay. Don't judge it. I, to be honest, managed on very little when I first started. Like I just said, like bad quality paper, bad quality paints. But if there's a will, there's a way, right? And you get to be creative and figure this out. If you're doing non-digital work, so if you're painting or collaging or anything like that, or drawing, you're going to need to potentially scan it and then edit it. Okay. So here's a story about a scanner. I didn't have a scanner. Okay. I had to take my youngest, who was a toddler at the time. This is like 4 years ago when I started. Take my toddler to a friend of a friend's house. So I didn't even know this lady, and she was so sweet. And she was okay with me popping into her house and using her scanner. I had to sit in her husband's office. I had to use her email to email it to myself. Like I felt very invasive, but that's where I was. And I was so excited about doing this that I found a way. And then I saved up some money and I eventually got my own scanner and I was able to do everything from home. But you get to find a way with this. So the way I do editing, once I've scanned, I edit in Photoshop, which is a part of the Adobe Suites. Adobe Suites is a monthly membership. You get tons of programs, but the ones I use in there is Photoshop and Illustrator. So for surface pattern design, you need to then, like I said, hand the brand a seamless, repeatable design in a file. So the way I make these seamless patterns, there's one way of doing it in Photoshop, and there's another way of doing it in Illustrator. And then if you have an iPad and you're using a program called Procreate, there's a way of doing it in there. So this is stuff I learned all by myself. I figured it all out. Again, I want to help you collapse time on this because if you're held back on these technical little things, like I can do the art all day long, but I don't know how to scan it, edit it, and make the pattern, I got you. I don't want you to have to sit for months and Google this stuff and figure it out. So I do have a way that I want to share that with you. So as far as tools, I have my laptop with the Adobe Suites, so Photoshop and Illustrator. I have my iPad where I use a program called Procreate, and that's where I do the digital work. And you guys, you can do watercolor digitally. I don't know if you knew that. Um, because in my Procreate program on the iPad, I can use watercolor brushes. So there are times where the brand, I know for sure they need something quickly. They don't care too much about the little watercolor blooms and splashes, even though I can do that on the iPad too. But if I know it's a kind of a rushed thing, and I know it's going to be harder to paint it, scan it, and edit it, and they might potentially also change the colors, then there are times you're gonna want to go the digital route, even though it's a paint. And that's where it's like so brilliant that you can have all these brushes that show these things for you. Okay, so then I have the scanner and of course all of my art supplies, right? And the other tools is more of on the technical side, which to be honest took a huge learning curve. But again, I want to help you guys out with this. It is, how do you present your work when you want to pitch a brand, right? So right now I have a website that hosts my portfolio and my designs. I also created something called a brand book. I created that in Canva. It's like a lookbook. So it's a way for a brand to kind of learn who you are and what kind of work you have available. You can create collections and show that. You can show the work you've done, like a portfolio. So that's really cool. And then let's see, I feel like I was missing something that I wanted to tell you guys. Da, 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 da. And oh yeah, and then there's the pitching to brands, which is like an art all by itself. So this is a combination of strategy and energetics, right? So just to give you guys a story, I pitched 5 brands a week. So 1 brand a day, Monday through Friday, for a very long time when I started. And I did it through Instagram, you guys. Again, I did not have a website when I started. I did not have a brand book. I didn't have anybody's email. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. So I just messaged brands through Instagram. And I would send them, this is horrible. This is absolutely horrible. But I would send them 15, 20 pictures of my absolute first patterns I ever made. And there's no judgment here. But I just have such like grace, and I I'm just so like proud of myself, and I want you guys to feel this, to be proud of yourselves too, whatever steps you've already taken. But I would send them these designs, and looking at them now, the stuff I sent them, some of these people said yes to me, and I love them for that. And it is maybe because I was a match to them. They were starting out as a brand, I was starting out as a surface pattern designer, and it was a perfect match at the time. Um, Again, you got to start where you are and don't judge it. Just be so proud of yourself for the steps you've taken and what you learned through it. Because I learned a lot through kind of bombarding these Instagram brands with, 15 to 20 just like pictures instead of having it presentable in like this beautiful lookbook type of thing. So you start where you are, okay? Um, What I did was though, when I pitch, I focus on my emotional state. I might do a little like hype song and dance and set some good intentions. Like your emotional state as you send out these pitches, they go a long way, okay? Um, and it doesn't a no, like if you get a no or somebody doesn't answer, it doesn't mean anything about you, okay? This is just another place where you get to detach from other people's opinions. And it's just data. You're learning. Like when I sent out all those pictures to people on Instagram and I didn't get any answers, I had to be at some point go, there's got to be another way. Like there's got to be a better way to do this. And so I learned, right? Um, I don't want you to feel stuck, okay? I don't want you to feel stuck due to the lack of knowledge about the process of creating patterns and editing and scanning. This is just the ego, it's just trying to protect you. Um, and you may feel overwhelmed with all of this, but again, I just want you to one thing at a time, one thing at a time. You may have a desire to access the right tools and programs and resources, and you may have a limiting belief that you must have it all figured out and you know all the tools and techniques. I hope you know by now with the stories that I'm sharing that you don't have to have it all figured out and that it's okay to mess up. Or human. Again, don't judge it. It just is. It doesn't mean anything about you. You get to mess up. Like I'm showing up here today doing this masterclass. I've never done this before. I am sure that I am messing up at some parts, but it is okay. I'm okay with it because if I don't show up here today doing this, I'm not going to know how to do it better, easier, better for you guys next time. So here we are. Okay. I do this all the time. This is how we grow and evolve. You may be overwhelmed how to find the brands and pitch them and what you need to do so. So I want you to know that you have time. Okay. You're not in a hurry. You get to learn. You get to choose one thing at a time for now. And we're going to talk about mindset next. So just hold that thought. Um, but here's the thing, choose the art medium that you're drawn to and embodies your style, right? Make sure you're having fun and it feels easy. Um, Scanning and editing isn't hard. Making the seamless pattern isn't hard. It's only hard if you choose for it to be. And you kind of have to, I call it choose your heart, right? Do you want to sit in stuckness and paralysis because learning these little things is holding you back? Or do you want to just lean in, take a breath, ask for some support, learn how to do these things, and get to the other side? Because both things are hard. Being stuck in suffering and not movement is hard, right? Nobody wants to be there. We choose it because our ego feels good there. But learning the things can be hard too, but you get to choose the hard, okay? Like that's how I decide my things. And here's another story that is similar to the scanning story, which is the fact that my laptop, when I first started, was so old. Okay, first of all, it was small and it was so old. I couldn't even run the new versions of the Adobe suites on it. I got a new computer 2 weeks ago, you guys. For 4 years, I was using old programs that sometimes I would get a file, it would say, this file may not be correct because it was created in a new version. So when brands were sending me artwork they wanted me to work on and stuff, I had to like hold my breath that everything was going to be okay because I didn't have the right programs the new versions of the programs. And I've been doing this anyways, because I just making it work and just find ways around it. So please don't let these things hold you back. Okay, getting to my favorite part. How are we doing? Let me know in the comments if anything's coming up. Okay, how are we doing on time? Just make sure we're good. All right. So the energetics matters, okay? This is we're going to talk about mindset and energetics. This is number 5. Okay, they matter the most. Okay, it's the behind the scenes of my business. Your beliefs and how you speak over yourself is crucial. What conversation goes on inside your mind? Is it negative? For example, are you saying, I suck at this, like I'm not an artist, who am I kidding? I don't have the right stuff to do this, I don't have enough time to do this. I've never ever gotten paid for my art before. Who am I to say that I'm an artist now? What brand is going to want to work with me? Like, I should just stop right now. Like, I'm just going to give up right now. Or could you be saying, I love my art style. I feel in total alignment with what I create. I am an amazing artist. I am great at finding the right brands to talk to. It's easy to find brands to work with, and they're so excited to work with me. My favorite brands always say yes to me. So if you're not ready to say the full positive affirmation, you can use a bridge word. I do that sometimes, and it goes something like this. You can use the word what if. So, what if my art style is super unique to me? What if it was easy to find a brand to work it with? What if I get a yes today, right? So comments in the comments below, like what your inner dialogue may look like and if it's holding you back. So another thing is create before you consume. We kind of talked about this. This keeps your art style sharp and imposter syndrome out. Beautiful friend, the ego. The ego will show up. She is a tool. She's not the enemy. She's a tool, okay? So your ego is trying to keep you safe from feeling any sort of pain, okay? Please hear me on this one. She operates from what she knows to be true from your past. Like she's pulling from past experiences, past times you've been hurt, times you felt foolish and dumb, where you looked silly. Okay, so if you ever experience any sort of pain or fear or lack or not good enough or judgment, she's going to find that in the beautiful mind of yours, and she is going to hold that against you and mirror that to you. And you're gonna, you get to decide if you're gonna say, yeah, I shouldn't be doing this, right? Or you can see her as a tool. She just wants to feel safe. She's like that tiny, tiny toddler version of you. And you get to look her in the eye and you get to tell her, we're safe. We're safe. This is a desire that has landed on our heart, and we get to make moves anyways. We're gonna go. We're safe regardless. Okay. And as you take the steps and do them anyways, you get to collect evidence. Like for me, it was I created the design, like I learned how. Okay, I'm gonna take that evidence in my pocket. Like I did that. I know how to do that now. And now I just get to get better at it. If a brand answers you, even says yes, that's another evidence in your pocket. So just the more evidence you collect that this is working, the quieter your ego will get, because she's going to say, oh, okay, we're still okay. We're alive. We're all right. Okay. So remember, the emotions land on the paper, so only create in high emotion. And if you're not in high emotion, so if I don't not feeling in a good mental state, if I'm overwhelmed or frustrated or anything like that, I will do what I can to shift it before I go back and sit down and do my art. Okay, so these are some things you can do to shift, and maybe some of these resonate with you and you can try these. But I have a hype song and I will dance and shake it out, or I'll go move my body, like I might go for a run or do some weights, get on the rebounder and jump. I might do some yoga, something that moves the energy around. I might do some journaling, so maybe getting out the way I'm feeling and see how I can shift it. I might do EFT tapping, which we're going to try in a little bit. EFT tapping is just a great way of releasing the things you're holding on to out of your body energetically by tapping on energy meridians. And another thing I do a lot is go outside. Just go out in the sunshine, go get your feet in the ground, do some grounding, sun in your face, wind in your hair, all that good stuff. That is such good ways to shift your mind. So if you skip mindset and energetics, you may feel negative self-talk and limiting beliefs affecting your creativity and your aligned actions, right? Feeling drained or uninspired, like you are maybe taking a lot of actions just because you think you have to do more instead of, this is your masculine energy, is that action taking, instead of being in your feminine energy and receiving so you can take action in your healthy masculine, right? There's like a really good balance there. Maybe you're feeling like you can't shift your mindset and your energy, and this is where the ego is running the show. So what I want you to know is that your beliefs matter. So this is the foundation. It makes you unshakable, okay? This is it's about detaching what doesn't serve you anymore, okay? Your inner self-talk affects your success and creativity. It really does. So what we want to do is equip the ego with tools. So like I said, see her as a toddler, she comes along, she wants to be in the driver's seat, but you're going to let her sit in the passenger seat. She's not going to go anywhere. She will show up anytime you're ready to learn something new or shift anything. She's going to show up, but she gets to show up in the passenger seat where she gets to come along, and she gets to see that as you go and collect evidence, she can calm down, and she might, she's coming along for the ride either way. So here's something I want you to tune into that helps me, is to tune into the feeling of relief. So relief that it worked out, relief that you learned a thing, relief that the brand said yes, relief that you feel confident in your art style, okay? If you don't spend time tuning into your desires already, yeah, you're missing out a little, because it collapses time when you know where you want to go and you're tuning into already feeling those ways. So that feeling of relief is so potent. So I want you to know that doing the one-off original artwork takes time. The more money you want to make, the more you must create, right? Unless you raise the price really high. So this isn't ideal if you have small kids or you're really busy or you have another job. And this is why I love surface design so much, especially if you get a hold of some licensing deals, because you can create the art once and collect those royalties over and over and over again. So this gives you opportunity for time and financial freedom. I suggest looking for artist programs or submissions for huge brands. You can also get an art licensing agent. So that's another option. I haven't gone that route. I have been busy enough without it, but it may shift. I might want to look into that at some point. Okay, so before we close out, I know we've been hanging out for an hour. I wanted to do a little bit of EFT tapping and just voice some of the things that might come up with you. I want to share this with you because this is a tool that I use that I find extremely helpful. It is just a way of voicing the things that is on your heart that's holding you back. Giving it that voice and tapping on these energy meridians just helps you release it from your body. And you're able to see things in a new way, and you can kind of move through this. So we're not going to make it, we're not going to do like a long one or a hard one. I think what I want to do is just, I have some notes here. What we're going to do instead of, I don't know if we have the time to tap on the whole thing. Yeah, I'm going to do a couple rounds of tapping here on some notes that I took of things that you might be feeling. And if you haven't done tapping before, all you got to do is copy what I'm doing. So we're gonna do this together. So just if you tap where I'm tapping and you say the things either in your head or out loud that I'm saying, we're just gonna do this together, okay? So just take a nice little breath first and just kind of settle back into that grounding body. You just took in a lot of information. Thank you for still being here. This is so fun, but I can't leave you guys without sharing you this tool with you because it's so profound. Okay, I want you to start just tapping on the side of your hand like this and just repeat after me, okay? Even though I may be feeling stuck and I have some limiting beliefs around being a surface designer, that's okay. I love and accept myself anyways. Even though I want to figure out how to be a surface designer, but I'm not sure I have what it takes or the tools I need. That's okay. I love and accept myself anyways. Okay, we're gonna go top of the head. Okay, and again, you're just gonna repeat after me. I want to figure out how to become the surface designer. Okay, tap on the eyebrows, but I don't really know how. Side of the eye. I'm not sure I have the tools. Under the eye. I don't know if I even have the talent or the style that I want. Under the nose, I don't really know what I'm doing. Under the mouth, all this fear of failure. Color points, the imposter syndrome is showing up. Under the arms, I'm feeling like I'm judging myself. Under the chest, I'm comparing myself to others. Wrists together. I'm just feeling frustrated and overwhelmed. Okay, take a little breath there. So I don't know exactly how you guys are feeling, so it's just kind of trying to hit lots of the different things. But I want to move into just more of an affirmation tapping, and we should do this again where you guys can actually write down all the things that are showing up for you guys, because the EFT is most powerful when you are voicing the exact things that are coming up. So maybe we can do this again where everybody tells me some of the stuff that they're having showing up, and we can do this again. But we're going to go ahead and just start tapping on the top of the head, and we're just going to shift some of these things over. And then I would love to hear how you guys feel after this. So we're going to just tap on the top of the head. And again, you're going to just repeat after me. All this overwhelm and confusion, eyebrow point, wanting to become the surface designer, side of the eye, not really sure where to start. Under the eye, my ego is showing up. Under the nose, I've got some limiting beliefs. Under the mouth, and that's okay. Color point, I don't need to judge it right now. Under the arms, I don't need to have it all figured out yet. Under the chest, doing will show the way. Wrists together, I just take one step at a time. Top of the head, I'm leaning into learning. eyebrow point. I'm following what feels good. Side of the eye, my art gets to be fun. Under the eye, I'm doing this with a calm nervous system. Under the nose, my art style is so me. Under the mouth, it comes to me with ease. Color point, I'm learning new things. Under the arms, and it's boosting my confidence. Under the chest, what if my dream collab says yes? Wrists together, I'm excited to see what happens. Top of the head, I get to surround myself with lots of support. Eyebrow point, what if there's so many opportunities out there for me? Side of the eye, I'm feeling at peace. Under the eye, I will get this all figured out. Under the nose, doing my art is fun. Under the mouth, this gets to be easy. Collar point, I get to have passive income. Under the arms, my art gets to be out there in the world. Under the chest, I'm having fun. Wrists together, and so it is. Okay, I would love to know how you guys feel. Take a breath. This is just one of the tools I use. It helps me voice all the things. I let it go, I shift. It's super, super fun. Tapping can be draining to your nervous system, so make sure you allow for some rest and drink lots of water. So let's just wrapping this up. I want to hear from you guys. I want to know how this landed. Let me know if you have any questions. And with all this in mind, just take what lands and leave what doesn't. To be honest, I was missing pieces of each one of these splatters and decided to go for it anyways, like I was saying. Listen to your own nudges and take the aligned steps, that light that's being lit up for you. Allow the doing to show the way. If you keep waiting for the perfect time, you may never actually take any action at all. So listen to the nudges, allow the ego to be your tool, not your excuse. And the healthy feminine energy is that part of you that gets the desire that lands on your heart, that intuition, that ease and the flow. That's the part I want you to tune into in your art business. And the healthy masculine is the action taker. So this is the part of you that when the desire lands, that's the one that's going to take all the action to make it happen. So that's and then also the masculine energy is the part of you that gets hit by the ego. So this is why the ego is so important to talk about. And yeah, let's see. I got my notes. So thank you for being here. What I truly want to do is help you collapse time and navigate becoming the surface designer with as much ease and flow as possible, with a calm nervous system fueled by the behind the scene energetics to get you there, right? So this is why I'm inviting you to go deeper with me. So deeper into the mindset, the emotions behind creating, navigating the ego, using healthy energetics, and mix that up with some action steps and strategy. I will share how I prepare my art and how I create seamless designs. I will share how to present your work and the art of pitching and so much more. So, beauty, if you desire to go deeper with me, I've created my signature course. It's called Mindful Palette, Becoming the Art Zen Argentic Surface Pattern Designer. So it's about your art and your Zen, right? So if this is where we part ways, that is perfect too. I hope that you got some insights and tools and some wisdom from this. I'm going to send the link to the recording. I'm going to send the link to the invitation to my course, the Mindful Palette. The live launch will be at the end of May. It'll be a 4 to 5 module course. So it'll be like 4 or 5 days in 1 week. So this invitation to the course is a special price for you guys for being here today. It is my foundational price. And yeah, I will send you guys the details to that when after this recording. I just truly want to say thank you for being here. Like, it thrills me. This was scary for me, and I showed up anyways. And I guess I just care so much about helping you guys collapse time, do your art business with this ease, because I came from a place of doing it with so much action, and I burnt out and I was frustrated, and I found this more Zen way of doing it, and I want to show you guys the way of doing that too. But I also know that a lot of people want to know, how do I actually do the thing? So that's why I want to show you how to get your work edited and scanned, and how to make patterns. I want to show you guys that as well. So if you desire to come deeper with me, I would love to see you in the course. And like I said, if not, this is perfect also. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out on Instagram or through email. Again, I will send out the recording to this and the link to Mindful Palette when in a little bit. Okay, so thank you guys for being here. And I will see you next time. Okay, bye everybody.